Okay, now what's the story on that you about Charles Hoskinson? He just got
Well,
recruited to
I
the
thought
Ethereum. I mean, not the Ethereum, but
he
the
was.
Lisk project.
Well, he's now like an advisor to the Lisk project. I think that's what the tweet said here. Right?
Okay.
So he's going to be like a senior advisor to Lisk. That was the announcement that just happened a few hours ago, right?
Yeah.
So this guy, Charles Hoskinson, he was, if we recall, 2 years ago when all those Ethereum videos, he was like, I think it was there even before Gavin Wood and before anybody, I believe, right?
Yes. Yes.
If I'm just trying to remember because this is 2 years ago. But what I heard was that there was a difference of opinion
Yeah.
as to, I think he had a disagreement with the other members of the team, not necessarily with Vitalik, but with the other guys.
Yeah.
I think it was Gavin Wood. I think you had mentioned that.
Well, let's not state the names, because we don't want to.
We don't know either. I mean, this is all speculation.
Yes.
And hearing from the grapevines.
Yeah,
right?
it's just hearsay.
But anyway.
Yeah, word on the street is.
Yeah. The word on the street is that there was it was a difference between him and the rest of the Ethereum team as to what direction the project should take, and obviously they had. You can imagine. For something as big and complex as Ethereum, there are many opinions, but there's probably more than one right answer, right? It's not necessarily one person is right or wrong, but there was a very big difference in opinion as to the strategy, I think, both from a business and technology strategy, right?
Yeah.
And I think he was, I guess he was on the losing end of that, is what I heard, right?
Yeah.
And he was basically, he basically left. Or I don't know on what terms they left. I mean, I think.
The word on the street that I got was that he was ousted.
Yeah. That's kind of the feeling that I got too. Was that he was? I don't think that was said, but I think that kind of felt like that's what happened.
Yeah, it's like when you work at a large corporation or something, and they're not firing you, but they're offering you a severance package, and they're telling you need to take it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'm not throwing it out there that he's that Charles was fired or anything, but I don't think that when somebody starts, because I remember in the beginning when you and I first started doing research on Ethereum, they, he was the main guy. The two faces that was.
He was.
The two faces that was attached to the Ethereum project was Vitalik and Charles.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I remember when we were researching it, we were basing it like, what do we think of this kid and what do we think of Charles? I mean, that was that was a lot of our discussions when we were trying to figure out, like, should we throw money at this or not, right?
Yeah, and I remember that back then I did not know Charles, but I just felt that, from a technical perspective, I did not, I don't have the technical programming and coding background like you do, but I just felt that from a experience level perspective, I thought that he was more qualified with Ethereum than Vitalik was, simply because Vitalik was like 20 years old when you and I first met him.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He was just so young. Yeah.
Yeah, he was just so young that it was hard for me to imagine that he had acquired enough experience. But after we met him in person and spoke to him with James D'Angelo, that's when I realized that this guy was like a genius in his field. But before then, before we met him in person, my personal opinion was that this guy Charles knew what he was doing. So and that's a big reason why I invested too. Is also because you had this other guy who's been older, much more experienced than Vitalik, right? Even if Vitalik is some boy genius, experience still counts for a lot, right? Yeah, especially when it comes to, because some of the stuff that you tell me about on some of the different apps and software projects that you have worked on, and you were talking about how some of the senior engineers were able to, figure out some of the stuff, and some of the junior engineers were not able to do it. So just based on the, just things that you and I have discussed over the years, I just felt that Charles had much more background and experience in large-scale software projects than Vitalik did.
Yeah. I kind of got that feeling too, and then of course later on he left, and I think Gavin Wood was his replacement. I believe.
Yeah.
That's what it seemed to be, and Stefan Tual, right? But anyway, there was a lot of what I know about during the last 2 years of Ethereum. There was a lot of drama.
Yeah.
And I said this before, like the project almost failed. Like it there wasn't a lot of things different that would have happened between the difference where it's at $15 right now versus $0. You know what I'm trying to say? Like just a few things went wrong that they really barely survived.
Yeah.
Right? They barely survived because they almost ran out of money. They barely survived because there was a lot of internal conflict.
Yeah.
And but they made it, right? They made it. And but on the other hand, you can see a lot of the people that were there have split off to go build their own thing, right? Like Stefan Tual and the Jenks brother went to do Slockit, and Gavin, I think he's with Epcore or something, and another co-founder went to do Jax, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the group.
I think his name is Antonio from Canada.
Antonio, yeah. He went to Jax. So a lot of these original guys, I think there was a lot of, and that's understandable. You take on a project. I don't think anybody of them had any ill will or bad intentions. There was just a lot of.
I think that it's just different ideas, right? I just think that they all had different ideas on. I think that they all had different ideas on what direction the software project needs to go into.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So.
That's right. So.
Yeah.
So that's the history. Really, that's the history. So I don't know if there's any bad blood between. Maybe if we get Charles on for an interview, we can ask him directly and get it straight from him, because this is all.
Yeah.
This is all what.
From the surface, on the surface, it appeared that he was ousted from the Ethereum project. But I'm working on getting him on a Google Hangout, and then we can find out the truth from him. I have always wondered whatever happened to him, because I remember in the beginning when we researched him, he was always in all the videos and all the conferences, and then all of a sudden he just disappeared.
Yeah, and he had a history. I don't know if you know this, but he was also on BitShares.
Yeah, right? He was on several projects before he came to the Ethereum project.
Yeah, that's right. And so he was also left BitShares, and I think for similar reasons.
Yeah.
So anyway, we don't have to. I think that's enough speculation on our part.
Yeah.
We need to really hear it from him, and let him give him a chance to say his side of the story.
Yeah.
But I think that he's been as far as Lisk go, let's bring this up to the present, which is Lisk, right?
Yeah.
One of the reasons we were skeptical of Lisk and Max is because of your experience with him, and also because their technical team is not nearly as strong as Ethereum's, for example.
Yeah, and let's
or anything, they just don't have a very deep bench. Remember, that was what we're. Yeah. That was one of the reasons we didn't want to place a big bet. We only placed a small bet.
Yeah. Let's just say this, so that in case someone's new and they're listening in, that the issue I had with Max, because when he and I worked together in the NXT project, it's just a loyalty issue. It's not but I can see how he's much more motivated. He's younger. I'm older. He's younger and much more motivated. He just came out of college, so that should not. That's just my personal opinion. That should not apply. When people invest in it, they should look at whether he's competent with the project or not whether or not he was loyal with me and the guys that we work with on the NXT project. Okay, but here's the thing that I will say, like you mentioned, he's got like $7.5 million now, and that's a lot of money to go and hire good
To get the
developers. But you and I were still not comfortable with the fact that he does not have like a superstar or a key coder on his team. And now you're saying that with the acquisition of Charles, that there's now there's a name brand coder on their team now, basically.
Well, there is a lead. There is somebody who is clearly, I think, has a big name.
Yeah.
He's done a lot. I mean, he's done a lot with BitShares. He's done a lot with Ethereum. BitShares is still around. Ethereum is still around, right?
Yeah.
Ethereum has been a huge success. So he has been involved in. I mean, he has credentials, right?
Yeah.
He's done big things. Or he's been part of big things.
Yeah. He is a recognized coder in the community.
Yeah, and he's also even though they had disagreements, right? They had he does have where he did leave BitShares early on, and he also then started Ethereum and then left that. I hope but these two projects were, I mean, BitShares is still there. BitShares is still one of the main platforms in the crypto community.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Ethereum, of course, we know Ethereum's Ethereum, right? It's huge. So
yeah.
I mean, he has been part of. We can call them successful projects, right? Extremely successful. One successful project and one extremely successful project, right?
Yeah.
So I think that this kind of I did add, just a full disclosure, I did add to my position in Lisk on this news. Because I think it addresses one of our major concerns, was that would Max be able to recruit, like a rock star technical guy? And I think he's proven he can, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that was one thing. Yeah.
So he has enough money to pay for the success of the project, to make sure that the project.
Yeah, money is fine. Yeah, we knew that already. We already knew he had money, right? But that just because you have money doesn't necessarily mean you can get a guy like Charles on board, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That you need much more than just money. Money. I mean, you need money, but you need more than just money, right? A lot of people have money.
Yeah.
Right?
So for full disclosure, you added a little bit. You added to your current Lisk position.
I did.
Okay.
On this news, I think this changes things. I think this changes the potential. This changes the valuation. It's not just because of one guy. It's also because of his network, right?
Yeah.
Of who he's worked with, right?
Yeah. So full disclosure too, I did add to my Lisk position. However, I did not add it because of the Charles news. I added because technically it was at a good, it was hitting the uptrend line. So mine was, I added it like 2 or 3 days ago. But it was because of a technical decision, not because of a fundamental decision like yours.
Yeah. I think that this is, but we were in it speculating that, with the money that Max could come through. Right?
Yeah.
We were speculating that with this cash, and that's why you invested at the last minute, right? Because you said, hey, wow, everyone's in. Okay. Even though you might have personal issues with him, we know, give somebody, $7 million, and many people can do something with that. Yeah. Even
if you don't know how to code with $7.5 million, you can go find some good coders, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and even some very, even you can $7.5 million. You have enough money to build a rock star development team. That doesn't mean
it will succeed, but at least you can find the staff for it, the engineers for it.
Yeah, you can find the staff that you're looking for. How well you spend that money is a different story, but it's definitely enough to get what Max needs.
Okay.
And this goes for
Okay, so let's do this. Let's, instead of speculating anymore, let's wait until we can get him on the Hangout, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
But just want to
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. catch up. All right, man. Let me
Okay.
go in here. I'll catch you later.
All right, man. All right, take care. All right, bye-bye.